Backchat TV. Subscribe.
He has also talked about it. That left hook is so good, and it's so long and so precise and so hard.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Backchat TV. Today we're going to be talking about Devin Haney, lightweight, moving up to welterweight. Apparently there was a few interviews, I've seen this from a few different sources. Devin Haney's intentions are to fight Regis Prograi on the 9th of December, beat Regis Prograi convincingly, and then move straight up to 147 pounds to try and challenge certain contenders like Keith Thurman and maybe even Boots Ennis and a few different opponents at 147 pounds. So very, very ambitious. Now, I've heard a lot of people bashing Devin Haney for saying all this stuff. There's nothing wrong with someone being ambitious. It's clear that what he's trying to do is be the youngest. He's trying to make history. He's trying to be the youngest three-weight division champion. Yeah, that's what he's going for. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that sometimes you can go too far and come unstuck and then ruin your whole legacy. And sometimes in the pursuit of trying to be great, you can sometimes miss a step. You know, you can take a step too far and it ruins your whole greatness. And I think that it's better, just like Floyd Mayweather actually said, just take your time a little bit and just build up your greatness, you know. Don't jump too many steps. I personally think Devin Haney can do a lot. I'm a big fan. I think he's got the great mental fortitude that you need to become this three-weight, four-weight champion that he's trying to do. I think he can do it, especially having his dad there every step, pushing him all the time, which a lot of fighters don't have. That's probably the main reason why Devin Haney has achieved so much in such a short span of time. Started boxing very early, learnt the fundamentals very early, trained with the likes of Floyd Mayweather, senior and junior, very early. Had like amazing sparring sessions with like fellow contenders like Shakur Stevenson, among many others. He is really kind of like, he's like been perfectly groomed to be in this position, if you see what I mean. And it shows up in his skill set. No matter what people say, Devin Haney this, Devin Haney wouldn't beat this person, that person. It shows in his skill set, you know. He's comfortable everywhere in the ring, on the back foot, with his defense coming forward. He's much faster than people think, you know, and we know he's got great boxing skills. I think he's only getting stronger as he's getting bigger and, you know, growing into his weight class. You can see he's definitely getting a lot bigger, and his intention is to go up and not really to come down. Now, this doesn't mean he wouldn't come down. For the right fight, he often reiterated that for the right fight, for the big fights, he would come down in weight. Now, let's translate that. That no longer means Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson has not done enough, and his last fight, it didn't look good. Shakur Stevenson has to really step up to the plate and do something amazing for Devin Haney to come back to 135 pounds to fight him. That's not happening. The only way a fight with Shakur Stevenson would happen is if Shakur Stevenson gets a really good win, which gets people back on side and moves up to 140. You know, maybe he gets a fight with Teofimo or Josh Taylor or some big name and dominates them. Then it becomes a big fight. Other than that, Shakur Stevenson hasn't got a shot anymore. He should have taken the opportunity that he had initially when they made an offer, when the Haneys made an offer, and he didn't take the offer because he thought he was a bigger star. And now look what's happened. One fight has cut Shakur Stevenson's popularity in half, if not more. You know, so you have to take opportunities when it comes your way. I feel like Devin Haney is in the position he's in because he sees the moment more than other fighters. You see a lot of other fighters dodging fighters, taking time out to, you know, deal with certain mental issues or whatever. You see fighters turning down the biggest paycheck they've ever been offered. All sorts, not wanting to fight in different countries and things like that. Devin Haney's not doing that. He's taking the biggest fight. He made the fight with Loma. Whether you thought he won or lost, which I personally thought he won, he made the fight with Loma, which was dangerous. He made the fight with Kambosos, beat him twice convincingly, you know. He's now moved up to fight a power puncher at 140 pounds. If he beats Regis Prograis, we have to start putting Devin Haney in the conversation as, you know, this great prospect, pound for pound. You know, he's coming up there now. If he beats Regis Prograis, here is where I think it may be a bit jumping the gun. I think if he beats Regis Prograis, I think he should still challenge maybe Teofimo or another fighter at 140. I don't think he should jump straight to 147 pounds yet, but I think what he's trying to do is he's open to big fights. He's open to big fights. If Keith Thurman suddenly agrees to fight, he'll move up to 147 and beat Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman being a very inactive champion, he would be quite, not an easy scout, but, you know, he's vulnerable at the moment. You know, he's a vulnerable, he's an injured lion, you know, at the moment. Keith Thurman hasn't fought for I don't know how long. And it would be perfect timing for Devin Haney to capture that and be the youngest three-weight champion, sorry. So I can see his ambition there, but you mustn't let your ambition kind of get past reality, you see. And I'm not saying he's doing that. I think he could do it. I think he can do it. Now, if other big fights come up for him at a lower weight class, maybe a Josh Taylor at 140 came up and he couldn't make the Keith Thurman fight, let's say, after beating Prograis, and he couldn't get any top guys at 147, but he was able to get either Teofimo or he was able to get, let's say, like I said, a Josh Taylor, then I'm sure, you know, he's open to these big fights as well. You know, so I think he's right in what he's doing. I don't think he should wait for anybody. You know, the Shakur fight is off the table. Shakur now has to prove himself to get that shot again. And I think it's correct. I think he has to. Shakur needs a good performance against a top fighter to be in the conversation again. Teofimo was kind of sliding down the ranks and he came storming back. So he is right up there now, the champion at 140. That's a fight that I'm sure Devin Haney would be interested in making. Like I said, but he's not waiting for anyone. If he can't get these big fights, he's going up, trying to get fights at 147. He's obviously going to be very cautious at the fights that he takes, but he's. I think what's given him this sudden confidence that he can now make it 147 pounds is that recently he's been sparring with a lot of 147 pound fighters and maybe even bigger. His dad did an interview where he spoke about his son, Devin Haney, doing extremely well against Blair Cobbs, aggressive fighter at 147 pounds, among many other sparring fights that he's had, sparring matches that he's had with 147 pound fighters. And apparently, he's more than held his own. So I think that's where the confidence is coming from. But like I said, he mustn't jump the gun. He shouldn't overlook certain people. You know, he's calling out the likes of Keith Thurman. He's saying if he can't get a fight with Keith Thurman, he'd be open to, you know, Jaron Ennis and people like this. And he should be careful because you can't just jump weight classes. If you do jump weight classes, you have to acclimatize to a weight class. You can't fight one of the best at the moment in the division like Jaron Ennis, you know, because if you just acclimatize, you may have a reasonable shot at beating someone like Jaron Ennis. Who knows? But if you don't want to lose a fight because you didn't have enough experience at the weight. And just in your pursuit of kind of attaining accolades, you know, you have to be careful. So I think what he's doing is right, keeping an open mind, showing that he's the A-side, you know, trying to make these big fights. This is what we want to see. And I think it's good that he's doing that, you know. Some people could say he's doing it to duck someone like Gervonta Davis, but he did make a point of saying he's there for the big fights. Gervonta Davis is the big fight that he is talking about. It's no longer Shakur Stevenson. But Gervonta Davis, you know, I'm not sure what's going on with him at the moment. I know he had some legal issues, so I'm not sure if he's fighting right now at the moment. But if he is clear to fight, then you know, his preferred weight class is still 135 pounds. Now, I know he's said that he would go to 140 pounds to fight Devin Haney, but saying it and doing it, two different things. So I don't know if that fight will happen at 140. But I think if Gervonta was willing to fight Haney at 140, I think Haney would make that fight. But I don't know. I don't know who else Gervonta Davis has got at 135 pounds. If you think about it, the Shakur Stevenson's fight, no one wants to see that fight with Gervonta Davis either. And he was the big fight. He was the boogeyman at 135 pounds, Shakur Stevenson. And now, because of his performance, there's no point Gervonta Davis fighting him. And the only other boogeyman at 135 pounds was Garcia, who's now moved up to 140 pounds. And Gervonta Davis has beaten him. Devin Haney has moved up 140, looking at 147. So all the big fights seem to be shifting up to 140 and 147 pounds now. I feel like Gervonta Davis has got to come up to 140 to fight Devin Haney. And like I said, there's a lot of big fights at 140. Got Teofimo, got Josh Taylor. You've got a few other fighters. The guy who Josh Taylor beat, but most people think that the guy won. I forgot his name, the British guy. I forgot his name, but he's a good fighter at 140 pounds. So I don't think Devin Haney needs to jump the gun. There's a lot of great fights at 140 pounds. Maybe stay at 140 pounds for a little while. Yes, of course, if you've got an injured animal like Keith Thurman trying to come back that you think you could quickly grab a scalp off, off a big name, then definitely be open to a big name. You know, Manny Pacquiao wants to come back to boxing, I heard. That would be a good fight at 147 if you want to fight a veteran. I understand it. These kind of fights that may just pop up, you have to take these opportunities. But other than that, I think he should acclimatise himself, establish some good wins at 140 pounds, other than Regis Prograi, which I think he's going to beat him. I do think Regis Prograi may be tougher than he thinks. 140 pounds, the power's different. You know, Regis Prograi has speed as well, but he's got bad footwork. And I think that's what's going to let him down against Devin Haney. We'll have to see what he does. But one thing I would say, I don't have any hate for Devin Haney. He's daring to be great. And I'm all for it. Just, I think, acclimatise yourself to the weight class, you know. I think he'll be okay. And I'd like to see him against Gervonta Davis. I think he's got every chance of winning. But to be honest, I feel like Gervonta Davis is the only fighter at the moment. He's the only fighter that can be a big banana skin for Devin Haney at the moment. Everyone else, I would give Devin Haney a big shout in beating them. And at 147 pounds, obviously, Keith Thurman's going to be a big test. But I know it sounds a bit strange, but I feel like Devin Haney might have a better chance against Keith Thurman than he has against Gervonta Davis, you know. Gervonta Davis is really good. I rate him very highly, and I want to see if Devin Haney can handle, you know, someone who's got the same kind of ring IQ, the same kind of speed, but more power, and the same foot speed as well, like Gervonta Davis. You know, I want to see if he can handle that. Keith Thurman, getting older, inactive, countless injuries. Yes, he's still a good fighter, but probably after the halfway mark would probably start to fade. Already has losses against a 40-something-year-old Manny Pacquiao. You know what I mean? I think Devin Haney has a better chance of taking out Keith Thurman at 147 pounds than he has at taking out a prime Gervonta Davis. In his prime, young, strong, fit, healthy, fast, skilled, you know? I think that's a tougher fight. So maybe he's doing the right thing by going up and trying to get 147 pound scalp like Keith Thurman. Jaron Ennis, I think it's a step too far. Not because I'm doubting his skills or trying to put like a lid on what he can do, but just that you can't kind of run before you can walk. I feel like Jaron Ennis would be trying to run before you can walk. But yeah, let me know what you think. Who do you think wins this fight if this fight gets made? I think this fight has got a better chance of being made than a lot of other fights, to be honest, because Keith Thurman is having trouble trying to get a fight. That's no secret. He's looking for a big name and a big payday. Devin Haney is a big name. Well, he's a big name because of his accomplishments, because he is a champion, unified champion. And if he comes up to 147, you know, it might make sense for Keith Thurman, you know, knock off the young guy. And then, you know, it's kind of like mutually beneficial, I think. Maybe. It would be nice to see this fight actually at some point, but obviously we have Regis Prograi, we have a few other good fighters at 140. You know, these fights would be also enjoyable to see, but if some of these fights couldn't be made, I wouldn't be against Devin Haney going up to fight Keith Thurman before any of these other fighters after Regis Prograi. I wouldn't be offended, because he can still come back down. It's just that once you go up, it's harder to come back down. You know, if he goes up to 147 and wins, and then Gervonta Davis wants to fight him at 135, is Devin Haney going to cut all that weight to come back down to 135 to fight Gervonta Davis? The answer is probably no. So, you know, let me know what you think. Is Devin Haney going too far? Do you think he beats Keith Thurman? Do you think he even beats Regis Prograi? Let me know. I'm on to the next one.
I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?
TV. Subscribe.
Once again, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please shoot me a like, comment, share this video if you can, and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you.